they really are fairly restricted. It's big squares, little squares, cardboard box.
Stay tuned for more of Craig's dance tutorials.
Okay then, Rob, so today we're going to quickly go through the design aesthetics that go into really iconic football kits.
Yeah.
So what we've got in front of us here is Croatia, obviously. Looks a little bit like a tablecloth across the table, but actually there's about 6 different shirts here. What's interesting is, obviously, fairly new country, but if you look at the check, it goes back to a long time ago in the Balkan era, and I think in the 90s, the whole brand identity of Croatia got
Yeah, the banknotes, everything, 1990 it was.
Yeah. So, but basically what I wanted to just talk through is, if I started with the 2002 kit, which I designed myself, we've talked about the complexities of the template, but what is interesting is you can see the progression. So as I've kind of moved on from Nike and then someone else has took the baton, you can see how they've designed it. They've gone back to a more traditional postbox red colour, if you like. But what's interesting is the badge has got a lot more refined, shall I say. It's got a little bit bigger, and you'll see the swoosh has got a little bit bigger as well. What's interesting is this little checker detail in the back there, so there's a little bit more going on with the shirt, if you like.
It's interesting the badge fits right in the check on that.
Yeah.
If that's what drove the size of it.
Yeah, could have been, but then if you see that, it fits within 4 checks, which is quite nice. And then I quite like this gold detail. So, you know, they've almost come away from the big blue shards, and blue being an accent colour, but I think that's a really nice kit. Then you go into 4 years after again, and you can see, you know, more of the Nike technology has moved on. They've got this kind of hole technology, which they
Halo
technology, which essentially is basically putting plastic on the back so it doesn't snag.
A bit like corn plasters.
So nothing really in that technology. However, it makes for a really lovely aesthetic. Nice kit.
You can also see how FIFA's rules evolved over time. So clear space for a front number.
Yeah.
And then on the back, so 2002, your big thing was having the check right the way across the back, whereas here again, blank space for the number to go on.
What's nice though is that's all meshed out at the back, so they're considering the numbers going on to a mesh as opposed to the solid on the front. So that's actually a really lovely kit. And this was the one where they'd been putting all the subliminal messages on the insides of the shirts. So as the players were pulling the shirts on, there was that little message which was, remember who you're playing for, believe in your team, all that sort of stuff. And they were different for all the different teams. And then we go up to, what are we on now? So we're looking at 2014 here. Again, it's probably gone a little bit backwards in its colour. It's a classic dry fit. Logo by this time has become really big. Crest has become really big, but I guess
redesign as well.
Slight redesign, but I'm a bit disappointed because at this point we definitely are moving on with the technologies of the badges. And if we take it fairly up to date, I actually love this little zigzag approach to it. It kind of reminds us, dare I say, a little bit Adidas, but I do quite like that there. Neckline I think's interesting. And obviously the back of that, but bearing in mind this is the shirt that went to the final and sadly lost. But yeah, great kit. Fabric far better. One thing I'm feeling with that's a bit more airy, a little bit lighter. But yeah, from a design aesthetic, you can see how the designers are starting to play with it and how they've got to be quite imaginative. But in the same breath, they really are fairly restricted. It's big squares, little squares, cardboard box. Big squares, little squares.
Stay tuned for more of Craig's dance tutorials.
Zigzags down them and that sort of stuff. But you've got to do it. You've got to pay homage to the club you're designing for. So great kits, shows how difficult it is at times to design within a frame. It'll be really interesting to see what's coming this year. New World Cup, new gear coming into Subside Sports. Check it out later in this year and we'll see how they're getting on.
If you've enjoyed the video, hit like. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Be great to see what's coming this year. World Cup 2012. This year, World Cup 2022.